It wasn't any one person's idea. There was no grand master plan.
The national parks are all so different.
In some ways, they were visionary, beginning a movement that spread around the world.
National parks are amazing places for research and, most importantly, for exploration.
In other ways, they were flashpoints in the battle between public land and private rights. In every way, they reflected the country, the good, the bad, and the bizarre.
It was a really bad idea.
Now, the National Park Service is 100 years old and counting. The last century is full of stories, and the next century is full of possibility. Native Americans had many names for it. Land of the burning ground, place of hot water, and many smoke. Centuries later, white explorers wrote of its wonders, but were often dismissed as liars. They called it Yellowstone. In 1870, a group including Montana official Nathaniel P. Langford set off to find it. Langford wrote, "We came suddenly upon a basin of boiling sulfur springs, throwing water and fearful volumes of vapor higher than our heads. Water smoked, mud bubbled, colors bled." Congress heard about the hot-spewing geysers and figured the place was too rugged to ever be farmed or homesteaded. Economically, it appeared worthless. So with little debate, they passed a bill to protect it. They had just created the world's first national park, and it was a whopper. Over 2 million acres splayed across 3 territories that weren't even states yet. Congress asked Nathaniel P. Langford to be Yellowstone's first superintendent for no pay. He accepted.
The earliest visitors to Yellowstone who came to see these natural wonders with their own eyes were a very hardy bunch.
Tourists roamed on their own, hoping they wouldn't fall into a cauldron and boil to death. Several did. Others came less for the scenery and more for the spoils. Outlaws robbed visiting coaches. Vandals carved their names on geyser formations. Hunters slaughtered buffalo by the score, often just for sport. Now, there are resurgent herds, protective boardwalks, and well-rehearsed crowd control. Nearly 3 million people come to Yellowstone every year. The last century has been filled with trial and error of how to run a national park like Yellowstone. But one thing really hasn't changed. You still have to see it to believe it. Not all the early parks were Western wonders. Cutting through Washington, D.C. is a natural waterway called Rock Creek. During the Civil War, Union soldiers felled many of the surrounding trees and laid them out as speed bumps for invading Confederate troops. After the war, civic leaders pushed to preserve this natural wedge of green space. It was made a park in 1890. Washington residents have enjoyed it ever since. Rock Creek National Park is right in the middle of an urban area that tops 6 million people.
People use it in so many different ways. It's a park that connects neighborhoods, makes DC what it is.
But there are still places where the city seems to disappear.
When you look around, you don't see too much of the DC that most people know. This is a beautiful piece of woods.
Bill McShay wanted to know what lives in national parks, including one surrounded by a city.
For about 3 years, we set cameras in different national parks, and one of them was Rock Creek Park, to see what's here, when is it active, how does it relate to the trail use that people are using.
The animal census program is called eMammal, and the backbone of the project is the camera trap.
They have a heat motion sensor, so it has to be a hot body and it has to be moving in front of the camera, which will zoom in on whatever is moving and take a picture of it.
Camera traps have been deployed all over the world.
China, Malaysia, Burma, to African sites, to North American sites. And you catch the animal unawares.
Inside Rock Creek Park, they revealed the city's wild side.
It wouldn't surprise people to hear we got a lot of white-tailed deer pictures. What was surprising to me are wild turkeys. I've never seen or heard anyone report a wild turkey for this park, but we had quite a number of wild turkey images in there during the day. Are there coyotes? Yes, the coyotes are here. We got as many coyote images here as we got in any of the other parks we surveyed, even the most rural parks. At times you think this is primarily a people park, but it's really an animal park too.
It is a biosphere, a historic site, and a city park, all within a slice of woods no wider than a mile. Rock Creek Park is an ongoing experiment in the urban wild.
This is as good a piece of woods as you'll find anywhere. And we're in the middle of a city.